Hey, what's up, everyone? Ace of Spades here, top 10 tank and former contenders player. So, Overwatch 2 right around the corner, and there's some pretty big changes coming to the tank role. So, let's talk about that and see what you gotta do to up your game. All right, so the biggest change coming to Overwatch 2 is we are losing a tank. So, instead of having two tanks, we are going down to one. So, F's in the chat for all our tank brethren. See you guys on the battlefield now. Goo, Harb, coming for you. So, what does losing a tank mean for our role? Well, now we're the only ones to determine what kind of play style our team's going for. So whether that be rush, whether that be dive, whether that be double shield. Oh wait, double shield's gone. Yes, let's go. But on real note, yeah. So they're depending on what tank we're picking is kind of gonna determine the play style of the team. So make sure you're trying to pick revolve around like your DPS supports what they're playing, or if you're picking first, then you can try and get your team to revolve around what you want to play, depending on the map. But yeah, so it kind of depends. You don't have another second tank there to try and like pick up the slack, where if they want to do dive DPS but you want to do like a rush tank, now you're kind of put onto that one tank role where whatever you're picking, the team kind of has to revolve around you. Adding on to that, now we're the ones that have to call the engages. We have to call the disengages. We have to do the positioning, like pre-fight, after fight. All the type of positioning stuff is depending on where you want to play on the map. You are going to have to do all that stuff kind of yourself now. You don't have a second tank to help you out. Now you have to also be aware of your backline. So, adding on to everything else we were just, talking about, you have to, supports in Overwatch 2 don't have that peel factor anymore with the second tank. So now you kind of just you have to be aware of what your backline is doing, what the enemy team comp's looking to do. So you have to might at times go back and help your backline peel for you. You help them, they help you. It's got a little give and take going on now. So beware of your supports, help them out if they need it. Don't just leave them out to dry, because otherwise they die, you're gonna die too. So help supports. Now, what do you need to make the tank tiff? Well, how are you gonna convey all those points above? Use your mic. Did I mention use your mic? Yes, use your damn mic. Okay, there's not you just need to use it. Okay, if you don't use your mic, you're not going to be able to convey any of those messages. Your team's going to be running around with their chicken head cut off. Let's use that saying. That's what's pretty much going to happen in Overwatch 2, and your team's just going to lose. Okay, so make sure you're using your mic, convey what you want to do, and your team can all like go in a cohesive unit. So use mic. Now, when we lost the tank, they didn't just leave us out to dry. On a lot of the older maps, they went and added more map cover, and so yeah, you can not take a bunch of damage when you're trying to get to the objective. So an example of this is on Lijiang Gardens. They added a big wall like shield where the mega was coming out of spawn, and they did that on a couple of the other older maps. I think on Gibraltar they added some extra boxes and stuff like that. And on all the newer maps, they have a lot of more environmental cover as well. So whether you're main on the objective trying to get to point, just on random ass parts of the map, there is a bunch more map cover. So make sure you're utilizing those to your advantage, whether you're hiding for an engage, whether you're looking for a pathing to your best chance to get to the objective or get to like their back line, something like that. Make sure you're looking for those things and using that as much as possible now, because you don't have that second tank to back you up and soak up a lot of that damage or eat it for you. All right, now the next biggest change is all the changes they did to the tank heroes. So a lot of them got completely reworked, brand new abilities, bunch of different cooldowns, all that stuff. For the sake of this video, we'll just be going over Ryan, Winston, and Erisa, just because I think they got the biggest changes. They're the ones I know the most and can help you guys out with. And as well as a lot of the other tanks just had like minor cooldown differences. So us tank players, we're pretty smart people. I'm pretty sure you guys can understand if your DM gives increase from like 4 to 6 seconds. I don't know if that's the actual number, but it's long as fuck now. You can kind of understand that and like know self-explanatory, that type of stuff. They're not brand new abilities, it's just longer duration, shorter duration, stuff like that. So I believe in you guys to be able to know that stuff. So let's go check out the new abilities right now. All right, so yeah, Doomfist, he also got some new abilities. We got a cool little E, but yeah, F Doomfist, yeah, we don't really care about that. Let's get on to the way better main tanks. All right, so start off with Reinhardt here. He did get some pretty big changes to himself. He does have 2 fire strikes now. Doesn't do as much damage as Overwatch 1 did, but you do have 2 of them, so use them as much as possible. Get your ult charge, build it fast. You can look for what I like to do with fire strikes now. You can look if there's snipers in like the back or supports, try and hit those targets just to try and force them to use cooldowns on themselves for like healing and stuff like that. You know, throwing on a tank is not really going to get you much ult charge since you do have reduced ult charge gained from tanks now. So look for the supports, the squishies, try and burn some resources as much as possible now that you have 2 better chances. All right, so the next change that Reinhardt has is his pin. So it's probably one of the best changes that Reinhardt has, to be honest. So you have way more control now when you are pinning, and what I like to do best is you can pin people off the map and then stop, you know, right as they get to the edge here. So you just pin, let them go, wave at them as they come off, you know, got them in a little wave, send them off, be respectful. All right, so now with pin as well, since you do have a increased like turn radius and control over it, you can move yourself like close to targets and then cancel it, look for pins, look for fire strikes. What I like to do as like a extra, you know, bonus tip with Shatter is you can look to, if you're having some Reinhardt mind games, you can pin from a far distance. Ryan's probably gonna start his pin to thinking you're gonna, you know, counter pin it. Then you just cancel yours right away and then look for Shatter. That's a quick little, you know, Shatter tip for those of you that made it this far in the video. But yeah, just there's limitless possibilities with the pin now, using it to get certain positions, get behind characters. Now, because now if they, you know, you miss a pin, you still can cancel it and get value out of wherever you are on the map. So make sure you're utilizing it as much as you can. All right, now for Winston. Honestly, I think he has one of the best changes that completes his whole kit that they added for him, which is his right click. So now with Winston, the problem with Monkey is you couldn't really build your ult charge unless you kind of just did soft dives a lot of the time, which you could get punished for because you don't have an escape. But they added a laser sniper, dude. You can be like some American sniper up in here. So you hold it down as much as you want. It charges up, so the longer you hold it, the more damage it does. And you can just shoot people from a distance. So make sure you're using this as much as possible. Build ult charge in the middle of the fight. You can also, now if they're, you know, out of range, running away from you, you can just finish them off. Or my personal favorite is sniping the pharmacies out of the sky. From the Mercy.
On their fair. Oh, okay, I died.
Bro, this sniper is actually just so nice. They can just kill pharmacies out of the sky. But yeah, super fun ability. Make sure you're using it as much as possible. Get that ult charge mid-fight. You can also use it to do your jump engages. So let's say you're, you know, holding down right click, you're jumping, you're landing it, melee combo. That's just another quick little combo that you should be looking for on your engages, because there's no reason not to. When you're in the air with Winston, you kind of just either doing 360s, doing 180 jumps, don't get headshot. But now they added like an extra damage factor in with, you know, right click, jump, melee land. Just an extra little thing. Make sure you're doing that. All right. So for Erisa, she has a brand new kit. They pretty much redone like almost all of her abilities. So let's go get into that. You know, see what you need to know for Erisa to make sure you're getting the most value with her and understanding what all her abilities do. So first things first, instead of her shield, she now has a little javelin that she can spin and block incoming damage. So make sure you're using that when you're wanting to get closer targets. Now that you don't have a shield, you're more of like an engaged tank, which you can also push people away, and it does damage as well. So let's say you're trying to get people into a wall, you know, you're pushing up there, you can move them. You can also look for damage knock off. So if they're, you know, environmentals close to the edge, you don't have your pull anymore, but this is, you know, the next best thing. You know, you just go force them off the map. You know, you still get your environmentals, still have fun. Now the next ability is, instead of her pull, she now has a javelin. So it's pretty nice for, you know, long range snipes, long range environmentals as well.
Because it's George.
That's sniped.
George Lyon is such a fucking troll. I was harassing him to give me VIP for like 6 months, and so because he was like, no, fuck you, you're not getting VIP, he modded me instead.
Also, side note, for the Orisa Javelin, it does count as like a stun. So any character that has charge up abilities, like High Noon, Coalescence, Reinhardt's Earth Shatter, that have like, channel times, you can cancel abilities with this. So there is a high skill cap. You can use it to cancel, a lot of the abilities in Overwatch. So making sure you're you're looking for those. If you're ult tracking, one of them's coming up, look for, save it to look for encounter on one of those abilities. Also, if they are close to a wall and you throw it, it does stun them for a little bit. So it's either it knocks them back a little bit, or it stuns them if they get into the wall. So make sure you are looking for walls and stuff like that, or just looking to cancel an ability with those javelins. All right, yeah, I almost forgot her normal shooting abilities. Instead of having an ammo clip, it now has an energy meter, which can overheat. So as you're shooting, as you can see right out for the side, it charges up. Once you get into the red, it overheats and you have to wait a little bit. So instead of now with using your shift, you still have the reduced damage, but it also makes it so the charge time for overheat doesn't go up as fast. So as you can see here, shooting it going up pretty fast. If I press shift, it's going up a lot slower. So you can use that when you're looking for an engage, take reduced damage, do a bunch of damage. You can just shoot way more with it. So that's just that ability. All right, so now her ultimate. What does her ultimate do? It sucks everybody in that's in the radius, and then it's a channel as well. So the longer you hold it, the more damage is going to charge up and release.
Kill George, kill the George.
Oh my god.
You have to be careful with this ultimate though, because it does get blocked by shields, gets blocked by environmental cover. So right when you suck them in the middle, make sure you're looking for the radius so you can pop it off before they get out of range, and then you're just looking like a dummy. You also do take reduced damage. It's kind of like a shift. When you are in your ult charge, you're not going to probably die if you're doing it, but make sure you do have some health because you aren't invincible when you are doing it. But quick little tip is if I'm pushing up, I'll probably look for E, and then along the middle, as you can see, there's that circle there, charging up as much as you want, and then left click to pop it off when you want and do a bunch of damage that way. Yeah, that's pretty much Orisa's ultimate and all her abilities. All right, well, that about wraps up everything about the basics for tanks that you need to know going in Overwatch 2. So hope you upped your game and see you on the ranked battlefield. But wait, for those of you that made it this far, I can't let you go without giving you a nice little bonus tip to probably help you get the tank diff right off the bat. So as you can see with the new scoreboard, they did add eliminations, assists, deaths, damage, and healing. So one of the biggest things you want to be looking out here is the damage and the healing. So you can use this with any character you want, but let's say you're having an Orion battle and you don't know how close he is to shatter. You can look at the damage and it'll give you an indication on how much ult charge he has. So let's say you're at 50% ult charge and you're at 3k damage, but he's been alive a lot longer, did a bunch of damage already, and he's at 6k, right? So you can see, oh, you're at 3k 50%, he's at 6k, he's gonna have his ultimate. So you can do this with you can compare your character to another ones if it's a mirror matchup, either on tank, support, DPS, anything like that. So you can give your team the upper hand because you'll know what characters have their ultimates. You can look at your counterpart every single time he uses his ultimate. Okay, he uses ult when he gets this amount of damage, he's probably gonna have his ultimate again. So the possibilities are kind of endless depending on how good mathematician you are, how good at memorizing the numbers. Just be something to think about, give you upper hand at least in the first fight. You'll know when he has ultimates, and you can play around according to that, and hopefully get your team the win. All right, that is the end of this guide for you guys. Hopefully it was helpful to most of you. Hope you guys learned something new, get little tips on a couple of the characters that you want to learn, or ones that you maybe had not thought of before. I try to keep it as concise as possible, try and just give you guys information in and out as fast as possible, get you on to tank diffing as many people as possible. Yeah, let me know if you guys want certain tanks done, or tips that maybe wasn't mentioned that I can add in the next ones if we do individual guides and stuff like that. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for subscribing, commenting. We're trying to build the YouTube as much as possible. So yeah, Until the next guide, peace.